What's up, guys? Welcome back to RC Overload, and today we're doing a general overview of all of my RC trucks that I've got. You guys have been hounding me to find out what's been going on with all of these trucks, where they're at, what's going on with them, and so forth. So today we're going to go over all of them and talk about them. Welcome back, you guys. Yes, like I just mentioned, we are talking about all of them. As you can see, I have got all of my RCs all spread out all over the place just to make things a little bit easier to show you guys. I even have a plane right here on this chair. I got stuff on the floor. I got stuff behind me, and I even have a plane over here. No, this is not usually where they all reside. They're more on the shelf and so forth. But I did it just to make things a little bit easier. So, without further ado, let's get into talking about the trucks and everything and where they're all at. So, to start off, we have the Traxxas Spartan boat. My only boat right now. Hopefully I will get some more here soon. Unfortunately, nothing has been done to this. I never got around to doing anything this past winter with it. It's just kind of sat there. I cleaned it up, made it look pretty and so forth. But it is all completely stock. See if I can show you guys. The only thing that's not stock on it, if you guys can see it, is the prop. The prop on it is completely different. It was from the guy I bought it from. Not sure exactly what's on it. The electronics are all still stock in this. So, but we'll get out running that soon. The good old 1/16 Revo, or should I say the Summit. This originally started out as a e-Revo, but has been converted into more of a Summit. It is completely upgraded. There's really nothing left in this that isn't stock, except for like the diff housings and the chassis, really. This guy was actually the very first RC I started with. This is what started RC Overload. This is what I got when I got back into the hobby after being out of it for a couple of years. So, you guys, quick look there. Yes, that is an Axial 27-turn brushed motor on it. This thing is so much fun for crawling. You guys have asked before. These are 2.2 bead locks on 1.9 tires. So, this guy just kind of sits up here for right now. I do need to get a new receiver for it, but you know, we'll hopefully do that soon. Moving over, we have the SCX 10 body. There you are. So it's drying a little bit. Doing another video here, possibly later on today for you guys on the boom racing shocks, or here in the next couple of days, anyways. But yes, we put some new boom racing internal shocks on these. I'll do an overview and everything here soon. But just for your sake, they aren't that bad. They're pretty cool. Anyways, nothing new has been done to this. The winch that's on this is actually from the original SCX 10 that I had this on. I don't even have the control unit in here yet. It's just on here for display purpose, really. Just, it looks cool. The Rustler. This is a brushed stock, completely stock Rustler. The only thing that I've done to this is put some aluminum turnbuckles on here so I could adjust them. Plus, I'm going to be making a tutorial video on some stuff on the suspension here soon. So that's why I did that. Otherwise, it's just been holding in there. We haven't even broken anything in it. My son and I and my wife, we've been driving this thing around good easily 20 packs through this, and nothing's broken. Rear tires are just starting to wear down. Proline ambush. God, this has got to be one of my favorite micro crawlers. This thing is almost indestructible. The only thing I've broken on this was the servo from the mudding video I did. But that kind of almost was to be expected. Otherwise, everything in this is great. As you guys can see, I did mount up some 3D printed parts on it. These are actually from my good buddy Tim over at rcnoob.com. If you guys want to check out these 3D printed parts, you can do so. I'll post a link to his website down below. Pretty cool. Just a little tire carrier, just straps right in. Use a little screw on the back side. I painted the 4x4 symbol in there with some paint. But what's cool is you can actually, if you have a spare tire, you could mount it right up to that and actually have it look like a real spare tire sitting up there. And for those of you guys asking, this is the Axial light bucket set. Just these are the small ones. I just mounted up for looks. Looks kind of cool. A little funky. Yeah. Also put in a new steering servo in this. This is a Spectrum steering servo. I'm not sure as far as the specs on it, but it is definitely a lot more powerful than the stock version that was in there. Seems to hold up well. This has been a new thing that I've gotten into, as most of you guys know. The helicopters honestly have been a blast. I like it because it's a challenge for me. It's not easy to fly these things, especially, you know, ones like the 450 3D or the 230 S. They are a lot harder to fly, especially this Nano. Oh my God, this thing is sometimes if you don't have the safe feature activated and you're trying to do 3D, this thing is insane to fly. But let's kind of go over them, right? So this is this 450 3D and the 450 3D that's back there. I actually bought both of these off of eBay a while ago for dirt cheap. I saw them both on there, almost the exact same price, and I just picked them both up, figured at least one of them's got to be good. Use it as parts. We'll come to find out they're both perfectly fine, so I now have two 450 3Ds. So I decided to make this one into my highly customized one. Whole bunch of aluminum, carbon fiber, so forth. This really sick looking body on this thing. There's a lot more I want to do to this guy, so this is just kind of like a build in progress. I really haven't featured anything on it, and I'm not really planning on it. It's just kind of one of those things on the side that I'm putting together. Eventually you guys will see this more. Moving on to the 230S. This thing is really fun to fly. Like I mentioned, it is a little on the hard side to fly. It's very sensitive. The throttle on it is extremely sensitive. One little tiny movement and the thing will just shoot right up from you. So it does take a bit of practice to get used to, but in safe mode, it is really easy to fly once you get the hang of it. I did put some carbon fiber blades on here. Other than that, it's everything you guys have seen before on this. Nothing else has changed. My 120S, I picked this thing up just to mess around with. Nothing really special, just to kind of whip this in the backyard, and if it breaks, which it did. The link on it ended up breaking. So, my little Nano that I whip around down here, as you guys can see, got some new blades on here. Just different colors, really. I did recently have to put a new frame in this because I whipped it so hard trying to do a 3D maneuver, flipping it over. It crashed into the ground and split the frame right in half. So, other than that, that's about that. Next, we have my little mini Inductrix in this little custom case that I got from Harbor Freight and foam blocks I got online. But this is a complete aluminum and carbon fiber frame for the Inductrix. It's a basic Inductrix. It has the high performance motors in it, so it is a lot faster. And again, I just kind of changed the color on this a little bit. Made another spot here so that I could get into the FPV stuff. So if I get an FPV Inductrix, that'll go there. And what's really cool is I made a spot for this little guy to go. So now I have like an entire carrying case for all my micro flying stuff, which is really cool. We have my 200 QX, which this is actually my second 200 QX. The first one I blew up. I didn't update to it so I could do 3D maneuvers. I ended up screwing up so bad that when I flipped it, it actually went crashing down into a rock and split the circuit board, causing the circuit board to catch on fire. Unfortunately, I did not film that because honestly, I was just testing it at the time I did the update, and yeah. So, moving down here, we have the Revo, which is honestly just being a damn shelf queen at the moment. The weather has been horrible, so I have not been able to even break in the motor on this. I mean, this is exactly how it looks outside of the packaging. It's just kind of sat here, looking pretty. But hopefully the weather will warm up some, and we'll get some sunny days here, and I can go and break this in and go and have some fun. But for now, it just sits here looking pretty. We have the Gelande. This thing is a blast. Nothing wrong with this guy right now. I got the dual motor setup going on it. Really slow, but it's got so much torque. It's crazy. These new tires that I put in, which you guys can see on my latest video of this, those things grab extremely well. I love them. They're much better than the stock. You do lose a little bit of height compared to the stock versions that were on there, but they are much wider and they have a lot more grip, so that's more beneficial. To the Proline Pro 2 car. This thing, oh god. It's a fun car, but it just did not work out like I wanted it to. Not right now anyways. Originally, this car was going to be designed so I could do drifting with it. It's a short course, 2-wheel drive car that I set up to do drifting with it. We made a mid-motor setup on it, and it was fun. It power slides like crazy, but it just doesn't work 100% like I wanted to. I don't want to put a gyro in it just yet. So for now, I just kind of made it more into a street car that's just going to do a lot of donuts and go stupid fast. So, come on. The Axial Yeti, the famous Axial Yeti. This is a new look. Some of you guys might recognize this look from last year. I have not had the opportunity to run this thing since last year because it did need quite a few things. I ended up finally getting everything fixed. I got new drive shafts put into this, new Vanquish turnbuckles in this, and a new ESC from Castle Creations. Now this ESC is not really the recommended ESC for this motor, but I got this ESC dirt cheap and I figured I'd throw it in there. It does work. My only concern is it might overheat a little bit with using this motor and this setup on the car, so I just got to watch temps for now until I get something a little bit better in here. But it is all back and working. It's really cool. This is the Proline Jeep body on here, Proline roof rack. I'm thinking about putting an LED light bar up here. So, I mean, look at that flex. Woo! All right, let's talk about this guy. This is a sad, sad story. Unfortunately, I don't have a saw body. What is going on with my Losi? Well, I am in the process of doing some upgrading to it. The reason that I'm doing some upgrading to it already, which I wasn't honestly planning on doing just yet, the reason for it is because I accidentally blew the motor in it on its third run. I know, how do you do that? Well, simple. Somehow the fuel tank that I was using for this, that had all the 2-stroke mixed oil in the fuel, ended up getting switched for some other fuel, and something else got put into the fuel tank that I was using to fill this thing. So it was not the original 2-stroke oil with gas. I don't really know what it had in it, but it ended up scoring the motor so bad, which actually I'll walk over to my toolbox here in a minute and show you guys, that it completely lost compression. So right now, yes, I know I have this all exposed, and that's just because last night I was in the middle of starting to put all this together, and I just had to wait for one more thing to show up today, which just did. Awesome. So I'm going to have this all back together here soon. But this is a 30.5 cc head. It's going to have a new piston with it. It's big bore is what they call it. What's cool about this Dynamite 29cc motor is it's actually a stroker motor. So it already has a benefit out of the box right there. With the big bore setup on this and the head, we should see some significant power gains, a lot more torque out of it anyways. And that's basically it. You know, we picked up new intake manifold, stock ignition for right now. I am planning on getting a Bartolone racing pipe for this. Not sure what color I'm going with, if I want the raw look or if I want to go black. I'm kind of leaning more towards the raw look, but the wife wants the black, so it's a matter of, do I make her happy or do I make me happy? I mean, it is my car, but she likes to drive it. We're going raw. Moving on. So yeah, we put in the full force fuel line kit. These are brass fittings that go straight down. It's a lot wider of a fuel tubing. I just put this mesh over these pipes. For now, it's just kind of a look type thing. Looks pretty cool. Gotta get a new fuel filter. Fuel filter's temporary in there. That's the old one, but I do want to get a new one before I get this thing running. And so yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Nothing more, just getting the motor all fixed back up, getting that running. got to still order up a new air filter system for it, and go from there. Behind me is my mini Apprentice S. This thing is awesome. For those of you that are learning to fly, I'm sorry for the mess, you guys. It's just we've been doing a lot of work around the house, and this is just where I could put it temporarily. But this thing is awesome. If you guys are learning, want to learn to get into flying, want to practice, this is the perfect plane to do that. It is very easy to fly. And if you do crash it, everything is extremely cheap to fix, and it's easy to fix. I broke the prop on this once because it hit the ground a little too hard, kind of nosedive. But that was easy fix, cheap enough. Everything else has really held up great. It is a light plane, so do not fly it in high winds. This guy, my UMX bomber plane. Unfortunately, this will never see flight again. I flew it once. It was great. It was awesome. But unfortunately, it will never fly again. And that's because it's missing the tip. You guys see on this wing, there's a full red tip. Somehow, and I think it might have to do with my son, it broke completely clean off. And I really don't feel like trying to pull the motors out and everything out of this and replacing the wings. So it's just kind of turned into a display unit, really. It looks cool. So maybe I'll do it one day. I don't know. But we'll see. So let's get to the stuff here on the bench. These are more of the ones that you guys have had questions about, so I kind of brought them out here to give you guys a better showing of what's going on. Alright, so let's start off with this guy. The ECX two-wheel drive Torment. A lot of you guys saw on the build series the awesome stuff we did to this. It is awesome. The only problem, and was a problem for a long time that I ran into, even when I was testing it, is these hot racing drive shafts. If you guys can see those. The hot racing drive shafts that are in there would rub horribly against the RPM rear hubs that I put in this. To the point that nothing would lock down. The wheels would actually fall off. It was burning up the RPM hubs and so forth. I even tried the washer thing. It worked, but it didn't work at the same time. Unfortunately, I had to come up with a different way. And the only thing that I knew that would work is if I put the stock rear hubs back in. So I did that. I put the stock rear hubs back in this, and everything has been fixed. Yes, I am missing the motor in this, the motor and ESC combo that I had going on in this. I was running into too many issues with it, so for now I took it out. I'm going to look at getting a new motor set for it, and in the meantime I'm going to try to fix that ESC and motor issue that I was having. But for right now, it's just more or less a rolling chassis. Hopefully we'll get this thing up running soon, but I'm not putting any pressure to get the new motor and stuff going again that quickly. Got too many other things I'm focused on, like the Losi. So, moving on from the Torment, we have the Pro MT. I showed you guys this stuff last year, the prime tires, the new body. But unfortunately, I was not able to do anything with this. And it really came down to a matter of fact of the motor that was in it ended up rusting solid. Yeah, rusting completely out. It seized itself, so I took it all apart and I found that there was rust all inside of it, and I said, hell with it. Decided, and it was perfect timing too when I started working on this thing again. Castle came out with their new censored motors, so I decided to pick up one of their censored motors. This is a 3800 kV with the Mamba X ESC. So I'm going to be testing this out here soon. I'll go into more details about this here soon as well. But that is it. So we should hopefully see this thing running here soon. I can't wait. Did a little bit of testing here on the floor. And honestly, it's a beast. It's just, it's going to be insane. It's going to be awesome. The good old SCX-10. The original SCX-10 that, well, started this channel along with the Mini Revo. This thing has seen a lot of work, and a lot has been done to it. I can say that this is the only RC I have that has had more work done to it than anything else that I have. I know that kind of sounded weird, but there's really nothing wrong with it right now. Real quick, I've gotten asked this actually a couple times. This is the stock Rubicon body. I got it clear and I painted it blue. and added all this other accessories on it. If you guys want to know more about this, I do have a video on all of this stuff here. I'll post a link to it in the description box as well. As far as what's going on with this, really nothing. I need to get a new winch for it. Like I had mentioned, the winch that came off of this is now on the SCX 10.2 just for cosmetic looks, but I am getting a new winch. I am running a Hobby Star analog servo. What? An analog servo? Yeah, I know, I am. Why did I do that? Well, to be perfectly honest, when I was testing it out, because this thing is like dirt cheap. The servo is dirt cheap. It's waterproof. It's all metal gears. It's just dirt cheap. And it does extremely well, by the way. It actually has more of a realistic look when turning. It doesn't have that like, let's turn real quick. Let's turn real quick. And it's like dead on. It actually has like a little bit of play that you would, it's hard to describe. You would almost see it more in a real life steering setup. And I kind of like that look. And if you guys aren't sure what I'm talking about, I'll post a link to the video of this thing running with that servo so you guys can take a look at that. The only other issue that I had going on was this rear drive shaft popped the pins. Now these are a set of RC four-wheel drive shafts. They're designed to look more realistic with the universal joints, and they actually come with a special screw. If I can get this thing to focus on it. It's kind of hard to show you guys the screw, but there is this weird screw that's in them holding it. Well, even though I put Loctite on it, these two decided to come out for some reason. So instead of paying $20 to get a rebuild kit when all I needed was 2 new screws, I came up with my own idea. Using instead of hex screws, again, it just doesn't want to focus on anything. I used some hex screws, cut down to the lengths they needed, and it works perfectly. There's no issue. Fun fact, these are the original pinion and differential gears that are in this. These gears are several years old. I haven't stripped a single tooth. I haven't broken anything. These are the original setup inside of there. That's why there's so much play. But I'm waiting until they break. I can't break them yet. And they've been through a lot of abuse. They've held up well. So I guess I got lucky on that. We have the Sakura D4. Oop, phone. Oh, the good old Sakura D4. Why have I not run this thing? Well, I did run it a couple of times, and I ran into a couple of issues. Some places I totally forgot to Loctite came loose, so I fixed those. Got this back up and running. Nothing has really been done to this. It's still the way it is after I built it. The reason why I have not driven this thing, really, is because there's nowhere to drive it. The pavement that we have around here is not really a blacktop. It's more or less of like a hard compact gravel type setup. It's hard to describe. It destroys these tires. I mean, this is literally, why won't you focus? There we go. That's only less than half of a battery. And sure, I still have a little bit of tread left on here. It doesn't slide as great as it did before. It actually has now gained traction because of the groove marks in these tires. So it makes it a little bit difficult to drift. It's not impossible. It's not the greatest. So I've just kind of held off a little bit, to be perfectly honest. So eventually I will get that thing running. There is a drift track about an hour and a half away from me. I believe. So eventually we'll get up there and I'll do some drifting with it. But for now, I mean, it's just kind of been sitting here as a shelf queen. I really haven't had much opportunity to drive it, just like the rest of them. The main reason is lately the weather has just been horrible outside. It's almost June. Last but not least, the ECX Barrage. Now, I know some of you guys have been saying that I should do a complete build series. Well, actually, before the running video of this was actually taken completely apart. I've been planning on building this thing up for quite some time. I've been slowly picking up some accessories from Proline Racing mostly. I got a new servo. We're going to be running 2S LiPo. We got some new tires. Actually, up here on the wall, we're going to be testing out the all-new aluminum wheels and their weights on it because, oh god, are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah, you're okay. All right, so we're going to be testing out these weighted brass rotors on here. The truck does need a little bit of weight to it, so I'm going to try that out. I'm hoping I don't burn out this itty bitty little tiny motor. I've heard people saying they're burning them out over stock. I just hope the weight's not too much for it. If not, we'll come up with something. I'm willing to try it. I'm willing to see what it does. That's just me. So we have everything in pieces, ready to get back together. We're going to be doing that here soon. I'm still planning the build series itself, trying to work out how I'm going to do the videos a little bit. Along with, I'm just trying to get the rest of all this nonsense back up and running for this year. So that's pretty much it, you guys. Hopefully I covered enough stuff for you. Just trying to get in some better light here. Hopefully I covered enough stuff. If you guys have any questions about any one of these things that you guys saw here, or you want to know a little bit more about them, feel free to let me know, honestly. I'll do my best to answer it. Again, really the biggest reason why I haven't been able to get out running is really because of this horrible, horrible weather that we're having. It's not raining at the moment, but it will be. Alright guys, I think this video is long enough. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. You got caught up a little bit. Try to keep you guys in the loop as best as I can from here on out. So, until next time you guys, I'll see you on the next RC Overload. Later!